why don't you do once through and then say, we'll do edits for Caitlin.
Okay. Once you join companion care, you become part of our team. We try to make caregivers as important part of the team as anybody on the staff or myself. And we hope that your work here will be rewarding. Our caregivers often tell us that they gain more from their clients than what they give to their clients. So I hope that you will have a similar experience. Our caregivers come from a variety of backgrounds. Our oldest one is in her 70s, and we can go down all the way to age 18. Some of our caregivers are students, some are retired, some are working and want more weekends, whatever. So we have a variety of people. Our primary mission, you'll see there, is to enable clients to age with dignity and respect in their homes, and that's really important. And their home might not be their own home, it might be an assisted living or even a nursing home when a family maybe wants a little more attention to their client. So respect and dignity are really two important things to keep in mind. Companion Care strives to be the best company in town. We work hard at that. We do professional trainings for our caregivers, usually every month or every other month.
Nice.
And we define caregivers as more than a job. It is a process. It's a process of enriching not only the client's life, but your own. And we see that all the time with our caregivers. Our history, that's kind of interesting. In 1997, my daughter in San Francisco developed a curiosity about the Judaism. And so she went to visit a temple. And she got fascinated with the temple, so she kept going back. And there she met Ruth Steiner, who was a Holocaust survivor. Ruth was from a family, a banking family, and it had lots of money. So she and Barbara kind of hit it off. So she hired Barbara to help her with her philanthropy. So, and go through the mail and help, who are we going to send money to this month? Well, then as Ruth aged, she needed some caregiving. So Barbara kind of moved into caregiving, and then pretty soon Ruth had another friend that needed care, and then another friend. And when it got to be 3-4 people that wanted Barbara's help, she decided to open a company. So she opened a company in Walnut Creek in California. And then when I moved here about 12 years ago, I thought I was coming here to retire. And then I was here about 2 years, and she called and said, "Mom, you have a lot of energy, you're healthy. Why don't you start a branch of companion care in Albuquerque, and I'll help you get started." And at that time, my daughter-in-law and my daughter, who lives here, the three of us got together and we started looking for an office, and we set up an office and started business. And our first client, I had worked for a doctor for 2 years, and our first client was a patient, that doctor, their family was. And so when they got to the point of needing care, they remembered me and they called me, and she's still with us today, 10.5 years later. So that's kind of our success story.
Things happen for a reason, don't they?
What?
Things happen for a reason.
Yeah. One of the things we strive at companion care is to do holistic care. What does holistic care mean to you?
Oh, I'd go straight into wellness.
Okay.
And in my description, wellness is physical, occupational, emotional, social, intellectual, and, or vocation, intellectual, and it's all held together by something spiritual.
Okay. Very good. Very good. I don't have to tell you.
At least that's for me, and it may include other
Yeah.
parts, but I'm usually able to fit, and you can check in each day on.
Yeah. Well, and we need to pay attention to all parts. Caregivers need to pay attention not only to the physical needs like mobility, transferring, making meals, or whatever. Mental needs you can support by either doing puzzles or just good conversation, stimulating the mind. Sometimes reading good mystery stimulates the mind. I'm reading one now that keeps me awake at night because I get overstimulated. Focus on personal strengths. That is really important because as we age, and I am a good example of that, and you might be too with your handicaps, that there are some things we can't do. And so it's really important to focus on what people can do and reinforce that and empower that. Exercise is so important for elders, no matter how little, even if it's just stretching your arms, lifting your feet, any kind of movement. It helps to relieve stress, and it keeps their bodies in better shape and improves their health. Even doing some deep breathing, stretching, meditating, listening, all things that make a person feel good. Encourage good eating habits, and that could be a challenge because sometimes our elders have a certain thing that they like, a certain way of eating, especially if you're from Mexico or Spain even. You have certain eating habits that aren't always so healthy. So it may take some encouragement to get people to eat healthy. Meaning of life, which to me is very important. There has to be some reason that someone is alive. And I think elders often will say, why am I here? Why am I still here? And it's like, there must be a reason. I often tell caregivers, you can tell the client, well, maybe you're here because I needed a job. It could be as simple as that. Maybe you're here because people need to know what the aging process is like. They can learn from you. Whatever things you can think up, and I'm sure, Caitlin, you can think up more than I can. But as long as they feel like there is some reason to be alive, that's really important. And of course, the final thing is to take care of yourself. Caregivers burn out easily if they're overworked or stretched. So it's very important that as a caregiver you take care of yourself. The art of empowerment. These are a list of things that you can do that will help clients feel better. I mean, these are things that work for me. Always listen. Even when someone else is present, listen to the client. You can give your expertise, but listening is more important than telling. Call a client by her or his name. I recommend that you always ask a client, how would you like to be called? Do you want to be called Mrs. or by your first name? Or, no, sweetie, lovey, honey. That can be very depressing to an elder because that's baby talk. Elders are not babies. We don't talk to them like we talk to babies. Sometimes elders like that, but that's something you will find out when you work with somebody. I don't like it. I remember having a doctor appointment, and the assistant kept calling me honey, and I told her twice, my name is Jan. She said, okay, honey. It's like, you don't get it, do you? So, number 4, ask permission if someone needs assistance. Don't do things without asking. And there's another example with me. People have a tendency to come and grab my arm, or they want to grab the thing that I pull all my stuff in. They think they're helping, but they're not. They're throwing me off balance. So it's like ask before you step, and you know that yourself. Number 5, pay more attention to needs and not to rules. I'm not a very good rule keeper. Every person is different, and you have to respond to that person's needs. Include the client. If you're talking with other caregivers on a particular job, include the client in that conversation. Don't let them out of it. Clients should have adequate information on medications, and that can be a real challenge because some of our elders are on like 10 different medications. We don't know the side effects, and sometimes you can just go Google things and find out, and maybe be aware of what things are. If someone is tired or they get dizzy, it could be medication. So you can always be aware of that. Always knock before you're entering their room and ask permission. if they want your door open or do you want your door closed. Always give options. Medications should meet the needs of the client, not the needs of the staff. We don't give drugs to people so they don't bother us, which is what they do in a lot of nursing homes.
Sad to hear.
Yeah. Treat clients as people in the process of healing, not as someone who needs to be fixed. That's important. Working with clients, do things with the client, not for the client or to the client. If you're preparing a meal, maybe they can slice the carrots. Or if you're washing the dishes, maybe they can help towel them dry or something. It's always good if you can get them to do something, because that makes them feel worthwhile. Remember, my grandmother lived with us for a while, and she always wanted to do something. And so one day she said, well, at least let me wash the dishes. And so my mother did. It was after eating. My mother would leave the kitchen, she'd get the dishes up by the sink, and Grandma washed the dishes. It made her feel so good that she was contributing to the family. Once the person has been informed of the consequences of his or her decision, support that decision. And that can be hard. I mean, you might say, I don't want to exercise. Well, you can maybe talk about some of the consequences. If you don't exercise, you might get stiff and you won't be able to walk. But you have to have some respect for what they want. As a staff member, when you go into a home, always introduce yourself, and you will be asked to get a tag that you would carry that would identify you.
It's important for...
Clients have the right to receive care from a gender of their choosing, male or female. Many clients like to have a mature caregiver. Promote self-advocacy. Feelings of powerlessness, helplessness, hopelessness, paternalism, and dependency can be causes of poor health, and you know that. I don't have to tell you that. And help provide the necessary tools to support someone to be independent. For example, grab bars in a bathroom, I think, are essential. Railings. I fell one time in my bathroom, and my son put in railings through the house, so just help me to hang on to so I don't fall. Any other assistive devices, and they're creating newer ones every day. And then the hard one is number 18. Remember that clients do have the right to live with risk, even though it might not be good for them. Especially like if you go into a home of a hoarder, they want to live that way. You're going to have some respect for that. You might sneak a few things out of the house occasionally, but. And then there are some clients who want to be dependent, and maybe that's the way they grew up. They want you to tell them what to do. But I still encourage developing independence because it's more healthy for them. And you can sum up everything I said by respecting the client's individual journey. Page 5, this is a way that we will use to keep track of your documents, so you can go past that. And page 6, I'm going to let you read that on your own. It's a listing of the things you might be able asked to do, but every individual case is different and will have a different kind of a job description. So these are pretty basic. And you can read that on your own. We'll skip page 7 and 8 here and go directly to page 9, which is, these are the professional